Ever wondered what the royals are doing when they're not in the public eye? It's a tantalizing question, isn't it? We often see them in their polished appearances, attending charity events, launching initiatives, and waving from the balconies. But what happens behind the gilded gates of the palaces when the cameras are turned off? Well, today we're going to delve into that unseen side of the crown. We'll be exploring the financial dealings of the royal family that, let's just say, they're not exactly keen on bringing to light. The royal family, after all, is no stranger to wealth and power. They're the embodiment of an age-old system that has thrived on inheritance and privilege. But have you ever stopped to think about how this wealth is maintained or even increased, especially in these modern times? As it turns out, some of our beloved royals have been engaging in activities that might make you question their commitment to service and charity. We're talking about real estate, rent, and a whole lot of money changing hands. And guess what? Some of these transactions involve public services and charitable organisations. While the royals are seen championing causes and supporting the needy, behind the scenes, they're profiting from the very system they claim to be aiding. And it's not just a few pounds here and there. We're talking about substantial amounts that could have been used to improve public services, or better yet, return to the taxpayers who have been footing the bill for royal expenses. But why isn't this talked about more? Why are these details shrouded in secrecy, tucked away behind the glitz and glamour of royal life? These are questions we should be asking, questions that deserve answers. So buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey into the unseen side of the crown. We'll be pulling back the royal curtain, and who knows what we'll find. One thing is for sure, though. Today, we'll shine a light on the royals' financial dealings that they'd rather keep in the dark. The Duchy of Cornwall and the Crown Estate, two entities that sound innocuous, but are they? These are not mere names in the annals of British history. They are real, tangible entities, and they are profiting from the very people they claim to serve. Let's take a closer look. The Duchy of Cornwall, a private estate established in the 14th century, has now become a source of income for the Prince of Wales. And who controls it now? None other than Prince William. Yes, the future King of England is making a tidy sum from the properties under the Duchy's control. Now, let's shift our gaze to the Crown Estate. This is not just another royal estate, it's a vast portfolio of lands and properties spread across the United Kingdom. And the person who has the reins? King Charles himself. The Crown Estate includes everything from residential and commercial properties to agricultural lands and forests. But here's the kicker. Among these properties are several that are being rented out to the National Health Service, a struggling entity that should ideally be supported, not exploited. The irony is hard to miss. The royals, who are quick to talk about service and charity, are quietly raking in profits from these rentals. And who is bearing the cost? The average taxpayer. Ordinary citizens, who already bear the burden of funding the lavish lifestyle of the royals, are now indirectly contributing to their personal wealth. Charitable organisations, too, have not been spared. These entities, which exist to serve the needy, are paying rent to the royals. This is not just about money. It's about the principle of service and duty that the royals so often preach. So while we're paying taxes, the royals are profiting from public services. Is that fair? The answer seems obvious, but the reality is a complex web of tradition, privilege, and power. It's high time we start asking the hard questions, because the veneer of royalty should not be a shield against accountability. But the royals are always at charity events, right? Surely they're giving back. Well, it's not quite as simple as that. The royal family is indeed always in the public eye, cutting ribbons, shaking hands, and making speeches. Yet behind this carefully crafted image, there's a whole other story. You see, the royals have a well-oiled PR machine that works tirelessly to maintain a positive image. They're masters of the photo op, always ready to smile for the camera at charity events. But this public-facing side hides a stark dichotomy. While they're seen supporting causes and organisations, their own financial dealings tell a different tale. Take, for example, the Duchy of Cornwall and the Crown Estate. They're not just historical titles, but vast properties controlled by Prince William and King Charles, respectively. And here's the kicker. They're making profits from these estates, charging rent to charities and even the National Health Service. All the while, the public is left footing the bill. Now you might ask, where's the accountability? An excellent question. The royals are rarely held to account for their actions. the mainstream media often turns a blind eye, focusing instead on the latest royal baby or wedding. It's not surprising considering the royals have a significant influence on the press, but it's not just about the money, it's about the principle. The royals are supposed to serve the public, not profit from it. They're meant to be symbols of unity and service, not landlords raking in profits at the expense of public services. The image is shiny, but the truth is far from it. It's high time we look beyond the glitz and glamour, beyond the smiling faces and the charity galas. We need to hold the royals accountable for their actions, for the sake of transparency, fairness, and the public good. Journalists are starting to ask questions, and so should we. It's high time we take a closer look at the financial dealings of the royal family, for they are not above scrutiny or accountability. The monarchy, in all its grandeur, is not exempt from the values of integrity and transparency that form the bedrock of our society. A growing number of journalists are beginning to question the apparent hypocrisy. They are peeling back the layers of royal pretense, revealing a stark contrast between the public image and the reality behind closed palace doors. The royal family, quick to espouse the principles of service, charity, and duty, seems to be shrouding a rather different narrative behind the scenes. The Duchy of Cornwall and the Crown Estate, controlled by Prince William and King Charles respectively, have been called into question. Accusations of charging charities and the NHS for rent on properties they own are casting a shadow over the royal image. This, while ordinary taxpayers bear the burden of royal expenses. The modern monarchy they want us to believe in seems to be more of an illusion, a facade crafted to maintain status quo. But we should not be silenced. The role of the public and indeed the press is crucial in demanding transparency. It is our duty to ask the hard questions, to challenge the status quo and demand accountability. We must resist the distraction tactics, the charity photo ops, and the PR machine working tirelessly to divert our attention. The truth is out there, and it's time we stop being distracted and start asking the hard questions. The monarchy wants us to look away, but we must keep our eyes wide open. We must continue to question, to probe, and to demand answers, because at the end of the day, accountability is not a privilege, it's a right, and it's high time the palace is held to the same standards as the rest of us. It's time we stop being distracted and start asking the hard questions. This might be a lot to take in, but it's important that we know the truth. The very essence of a democratic society is the right to information, the right to know what's happening behind those fortified walls of power and privilege. Today, we have discussed some uncomfortable realities that are often swept under the royal carpets. An institution that symbolizes courage, duty, and service appears to be indulging in practices that are contrary to these very principles. It's not about demonizing individuals or undermining the legacy of the monarchy. It's about holding those in power accountable for their actions, just as you and I would be held accountable for ours. The Duchy of Cornwall, the Crown Estate, the profits accrued at the expense of public services. These are not just headlines. They are a reflection of a systemic issue that needs to be addressed. And if mainstream media isn't ready to do so, then it falls upon us, the citizens, to raise our voices. We must question, we must debate, and we must seek answers. Why should ordinary families suffer while the royal coffers continue to grow? Why should the public foot the bill for royal expenses while the future king profits from a struggling health system? These are not just questions. They are a call to action. In this age of digital democracy, your voice matters, your opinions matter. By sharing this video, by commenting your thoughts, you are contributing to a larger conversation about accountability and transparency. You are helping to expose the facts they don't want you to see. Let's not be distracted by the glitz and glamour. Let's not be swayed by the charity photo ops. Let's focus on the truth. Let's demand accountability. And let's ensure that the modern monarchy is indeed a reflection of the values we hold dear. So what do you think? Share this video, comment your thoughts, and let's keep the conversation going.